Wow. I can't say I honestly expected to hit 1K subscribers so soon. I mean, both in the grand scheme of things and like I saw it coming up and it still just like completely snuck up on me. In fact, it might literally hit 1K while I'm recording this video, which is awesome. I thought a change of scenery might be kind of nice for this one. So here we are. First off, I just want to say thank you. It's like so impossibly hard to make it as a content creator on YouTube, and even like at a small milestone like 1,000 subscribers, I don't really feel like I've made it. But throughout the years, I've been uploading stuff to this channel and previous channels going all the way back to 2012, like literally. I always just felt something kind of like pulling me back to doing this type of stuff. And so as small of a milestone as it is, hitting 1,000 subs on this channel feels like really big vindication of that feeling, I guess. It just tells me that I was right to keep trying. So with that out of the way, thank you so much for your support. Coincidentally, this happened right around the anniversary that I started streaming, which was March 17th of 2021. So over the next couple of weeks, in addition to this video, there's going to be multiple kind of best of the year for 2021 videos coming out. Especially if you're new here, these videos will give you a taste of what I've been doing on this channel for the past year, and just how far things have come and changed since I started. So I definitely implore you to give these a watch. I think they'll be a lot of fun. Check them out when they drop. So anyways, for this video, I had the idea to do like a Q&A type deal. Ask me anything, if you will. I did something like that a while back, but I had literally like 40 subscribers at the time, and all the questions were just like completely made up by me. Just imagining what people might want to know about me if they came to my channel and were wondering what the hell I was about. So I figured I would do that again, but this time with actual real questions asked by real people instead of, just making them up by myself. So I've got here some questions, both from my YouTube and Discord community that I'll be answering. First question from Nixel on YouTube. What made you start streaming or making videos? So I've actually had a pretty interesting road to get where I am now. Back in like 2011 or 2012, I had another moderately successful YouTube channel. Not a lot of people know this about me. It was mainly a Minecraft channel, and towards the end I was trying to do some variety, but it wasn't really working out. Funny enough, this channel also reached about 1,000 subscribers at its peak, and I even had a video with over 1 million views. And this, keep in mind, this was like way back in the infancy of Minecraft on YouTube, so this was actually a big deal. In general though, I would say this channel here is more successful. On that previous channel, I kind of had a hard time getting those viewers from that one video that blew up to actually like stay and subscribe and watch the videos. And either way, that channel got taken down because I used a lot of DMCA music, like a lot. I was in high school and I had no idea how that shit worked. So yeah, the channel eventually just got nuked. So even if you wanted to find it now, it's not there. You can't find it. I tried to look into a way of recovering the videos that were there. I mean, it would be kind of funny to share those old videos, but I'm still not sure if I can even do that. But yeah, that was my first foray into making videos on YouTube, and even though it didn't work out in the long term, it is what got me into making videos in the first place. As for the Dumpster Man channel, I started posting on it around the time that I graduated from college in like 2018 or so. I was playing a lot of Rainbow Six Siege with my friends, and I had a lot more free time on my hands, so I wanted to try my hand again at just making some funny video edits to share with my friends. As for the Dumpster Man channel, I started posting on that channel around 2018, which was the time I graduated from college. I had a lot more free time on my hands, and I wanted to try my hand at making some funny edits just to share with my friends of us playing Siege together. I originally uploaded all these videos unlisted because they were, like I said, just to share with my friends. But I decided I was just putting like too much time and effort into them to keep them private, and I just uploaded them publicly for everyone to watch. So they're public now if you're curious and want to watch them. They're a lot worse, a lot less refined, but my editing style and content was kind of starting to take shape back then. I decided I would keep uploading on the channel and just kind of see where it went. So throughout 2019 and 2020, that's pretty much exactly what I did. My videos were still really only being watched by my friends and a handful of other people. But I decided that I enjoyed making content regularly like that, and I wanted to keep doing it even if nobody else really ever cared to watch. Around late 2020, early 2021, I decided that I wanted to start streaming on Twitch. I thought I was just gonna stream Rainbow Six Siege. It didn't really pan out that way at all, in fact. Right around the time that I started my stream, I kind of just burned out on that game completely, and I didn't feel like playing it anymore. But I was kind of enjoying the streaming thing, so I stuck with it. I even tried other competitive FPS games like Valorant and Splitgate, but neither of those games really stuck the way that Siege did for me. So I was kind of just left with this weird mix of content that I didn't really know what to do with. But I wanted to keep making videos on the stuff that I was doing on stream, like GeoGuessr, which is a lot different from what I'm doing now, to say the least. But I did really enjoy that, and I actually hope to bring that back in some capacity if I can. I still enjoyed making these videos, but I was really just hungry for some direction in my channel. And I found it when I started playing Ultra Kill, and I completely fell in love with that game and the entire genre of retro FPS. I knew I was going to make content on Ultra Kill regardless. I just never in a million years expected how well it would be received, and yeah, the rest is pretty much history. I know as an answer this might be a little bit more than you bargained for, but I think it's kind of an interesting story, especially since a lot of people here now weren't around for the beginning of this channel the first year or two. I guess in more general terms, I really thought at one point that I wanted to be a filmmaker. I seriously thought about going to film school at one point, but I ultimately decided not to because it's just a really hard industry to break into, at least in traditional terms. But ultimately though, this hobby combines a lot of things that I love. Video games, entertaining people, and just creating something that people can enjoy. And for that reason, I'm glad I found my way to where I am now, even if my path here was a little unorthodox. Question from Pillar Plays on YouTube. How did you get into retro shooters? This is a super interesting question, and I actually have a video in the pipeline where I plan to answer this, at least in some capacity. But I have no problem touching on it here as well. I've always loved FPS games, as long as my parents would let me play them, and even before that, honestly. No narcs. It's not an FPS game, but one of the first like M-rated games that I remember playing was Max Payne. And man, did I just think that game was so cool. Even though I only picked it up for a couple hours at a friend's house one day, that game definitely left an impression on me. The games that really got me into FPS games though were Halo, mainly 2 and 3, and some of the early James Bond games. I was a little too young for GoldenEye, but me and my friends used to play split screen Nightfire, which was a lot of fun back in the day. I guess I don't know if these games are old enough now to be considered retro, but after years of developments and changes in FPS games, I do look back fondly on these games. I do think retro FPS games kind of scratch the itch that I have for more games like that. When I was in 5th grade, I moved out of Chicago where I grew up, and to keep in touch with my friends, I played a lot of Halo and Call of Duty with them. And again, when I went off to college, I kept in touch with a lot of my friends who went to other states and whatnot by playing Rainbow Six Siege with them. These days, it really feels like competitive FPS games are just hyper competitive, and even though I like that, I'm a competitive person, I kind of burned out on those games pretty hard, but I still wanted to play games that were challenging and fast-paced and what have you. I definitely found what I was looking for in that regard in Ultra Kill and other fast-paced retro FPS games. So even though I didn't like grow up on games like Doom or Quake, this type of game really resonated with me because it captured a certain style of game that I was really specifically looking for at the time. On top of that, it's really easy to feel jaded with modern live service AAA FPS titles. And so it kind of feels like your only option to play something interesting and innovative is to play retro and indie FPS games. And the good news is there is a ton of indie FPS games coming out right now, a lot of which are trending towards this retro style. And I honestly think that's awesome. I am totally hooked on retro FPS games, even if my path to this genre was not a normal one exactly. I got a few questions here about what is my favorite game, what is the most influential game to my life, what is, if I could pick one game to experience again for the first time, what would it be? Favorite character. So I'll just rattle through these quick. Favorite game, I have a pretty long list, I guess, but the one that always comes to mind as having been kind of the most influential to my life as a gamer and what I like and just my tastes in gaming is The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. It was one of the first games I ever just remember being really excited to go out and buy when it was brand new on GameCube. And I just remember it having this amazing look to it and just feeling so open and full of possibility. It was just like a world that I wanted to live in when I was a kid. And it still holds up today, crazy enough. So when I think about it, it's pretty easy to call that my favorite game. On another note though, the Dishonored franchise, I can't pick one. 1 and 2 are both fantastic and equal in my mind, are another one that comes to mind, at least when I think of like a more modern game. Those games just feel like they're pretty much perfectly catered to my tastes. and everything just sort of clicks together and works perfectly together, and I just could replay those games over and over and over again. It's definitely my favorite modern game at the very least. I just never get sick of those games. Now, the most influential game to my life, I guess, like I said before, Wind Waker seems like an obvious one. I would say Halo is a good one as well, with Halo 3 being probably my favorite multiplayer game of all time. But Halo ODST, actually, I know it's kind of a hot take, but Halo ODST I think is my favorite campaign. And acknowledging some recency bias, Ultra Kill has become one of my favorite games. It also has completely changed the trajectory of my YouTube channel and kick-started my obsession with retro FPS games. It's hard to overstate just how important that game has been to the last year or so of my life, and probably will continue to be for a long time as it keeps getting updated and I keep making content on it. Another game worth mentioning, I've already mentioned it a little bit, but Rainbow Six Siege. A lot can be said about that game, and not all of it is good, but that game sort of sunk its teeth into me hard and fast, and honestly, it sort of got me out of a gaming slump. When I was in the last few years of college and grad school, I really did not have any time for gaming whatsoever. And then I graduated and I was playing a lot of Siege, and my friends were playing Siege. And yeah, it was a game that just clicked really hard with me. And it even got me back into content creation pretty much. Like, I don't know that I would be sitting here making videos about anything today if it hadn't been for Siege. So even though I'm not really doing Siege content anymore, and it's kind of an odd pick given the other stuff that I've been talking about, it's hard to leave that one out entirely. And as funny as it might sound, given a lot of the other games that I've mentioned here, I feel like Stardew Valley deserves a special mention. That game kind of came at a perfect time in my life. It sort of got me through a tough year where I was dealing with, I actually broke my arm. I was having a tough time in college, and I was in sort of a toxic living situation. And that game was definitely like an instant depression cure. So for that reason, I will always love that game as well. Now, if I could experience a game again for the first time, this one is pretty tough. I had to think about this one a little bit. I wanted to come up with like a really cool answer, but honestly, my answer here is super generic. I think the two games that come to mind are The Witcher 3 and Skyrim. I know that's like a super generic, shitty answer, but those two games, when they came out, just like completely consumed my entire life. It's definitely been too long since I had a game that I was just so excited to come home and play every single day like that, and just sink more and more hours into. The Witcher 3 in particular just kind of hit every note for me at the time, and every time a new DLC released, I was sort of just sucked back into it. I think in general, just because of the story and the world and all that, I would rank that game among my favorites, even though it's not perfect in every way. It still did it for me where it mattered most, and I just don't think that repeat playthroughs of that game are ever going to capture the magic of that first one. It's sort of a side note, I guess, but I'm playing through Elden Ring right now off stream, but that game is kind of like hitting a similar feeling for me. In fact, I will probably get off of this right here and go play it. It's still pretty early, but I'm totally engrossed in the game, and I think I will grow to feel this way about Elden Ring as well. You might think I'd say Ultra Kill or Dishonored, but Ultra Kill at the very least, I'm not eager to go back to suffering the way I did when I first started that game. And Dishonored, I didn't really love, weirdly enough, my first playthrough or two. It took a while for that game to kind of really click for me. I guess I should mention Wind Waker. That game has aged pretty well, but I just don't know if it's nostalgia goggles or if I played that game again for the first time today, it might just not click with me the same way it did when I was a kid. So I'm not sure that one really fits here either. Favorite character in a game? Honestly, I am pretty much completely drawing a blank here. I guess on the note of The Witcher 3, I do have kind of an odd answer here. The character from the Hearts of Stone DLC, Olgierd von Everec, I thought he was just a really impressively written villain. And honestly, even calling him a villain is kind of not doing the character justice. He's very three-dimensional and nuanced, and I just don't know that I've ever really seen a character like that in a video game before, at least not to that level. I won't go too deep into that, but man, what a cool character that is. I honestly wish I had like a really cool protagonist to say, but a lot of my favorite games have silent protagonists, like BioShock. I guess I could say Infinite, but I don't think Booker is one of my favorite characters. If anything, he's kind of a little bit annoying, even though I do love BioShock Infinite. Corvo from Dishonored, I guess he talks in 2, but I kind of consider Emily the de facto main character of Dishonored 2, and Corvo is kind of a a side character, even though you can play as him. I do really like Steven Russell's voice, though. I just don't think it elevates Corvo to one of my favorite characters of all time. Obvious recency bias, of course, but Minos Prime, or just King Minos in general from Ultra Kill. That was a character that I was really impressed by recently that just has stuck in my mind. They were really telling a lot of story with actually very little. And Stephen Waite lending his voice to the character is definitely just elevates it to that next level of memorable. Yeah, I don't know. This was a tough question, and I feel like I gave kind of bad answers. But to be honest, like I could have picked a really cool protagonist like Master Chief or something, but it just would have been a lie. Zin in the Discord asked, "What genre of game do you like the most?" I'm gonna say immersive sims are probably my favorite genre overall. A lot of my favorite games sort of just fall under that umbrella. I just really like anything that offers multiple approaches and branching paths and surprising interactions between like different objects and AI and stuff. So I guess it's not necessarily limited to immersive sims, although they tend to have the highest like density of that kind of stuff. In a more general sense, I guess I'd say FPS games of like really any type, just like first person games in general. I mean, there's something about controlling from the first person that just is like the most immersive to me and just clicks with me the most. I'm not really that picky though. Anything with interesting or innovative mechanics will probably click with me. And even if it doesn't have that, a good story or cool world building will probably go a long way with me. I like lots of RPGs, roguelike games, even like puzzle games. In fact, I'd like to find a way to make all of that stuff part of this channel here. I think that would be awesome. Nuclear Mission Jam on YouTube and Flippy in the Discord both asked, what is the origin of the username Dumpster Man? So I've actually told this story before, but not that many people watched the video. When I was in college, I lived down the street from a Little Caesars pizza that had a drive-thru. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Little Caesars has the greatest pizza of all time, but I was in college. I often only had a few bucks to my name, and I lived in a place where it frequently got 20 degrees or more Fahrenheit, of course, below zero. And so when I was hungover or whatever on a Saturday, sometimes all I wanted was just to go get a pizza really fast without leaving my car. And so that was exactly what the Little Caesars with the drive-thru was good for. Now, the Little Caesars that we went to had this dumpster out back that we would drive by. And one day I noticed a note on it that said something along the lines of, "Whoever is taking food from our dumpster, please feel free to come in and we'll give you a slice of pizza. You're a human being and your life has value," or something like that. It was actually kind of a nice message. But I turned to Britta and I said, "I hope the dumpster man got his pizza." And we both just kind of laughed at the term dumpster man. It didn't like immediately become my online alias, but I think I was playing fantasy football at the time and my team was doing pretty bad and I had a lot of crappy players. So I changed the team name to be the Dumpster Men. I think that was the first iteration. But around that time too, I would change my Steam name to like literally just whatever I was feeling that week. And I just had this Dumpster Man thing stuck in my head. So I changed my Steam name as well. And so that was kind of the origin. It just kind of stuck and I didn't change it for a while. And around this time I was starting to play a lot of Rainbow Six Siege and it just became what people in game knew me as, and I just didn't feel like changing it. I mean, as dumb as it is, I kind of like the sound of it. It's funny, but it's not like assaultingly grotesque or overly memey or anything like that. It's ambiguous enough that you can kind of like decide what it means for yourself. Like, I don't know, to me it kind of sounds like a really bad superhero or something like that. I just think it's funny and unique, although apparently it's not unique enough because the name Dumpster Man, like just plain flat out, is taken on Twitch, which is why my name there is Dumpster Man TTV. And honestly, I completely hate that. I wish I hadn't made my name that. I'm thinking about dropping one of the T's or seeing if I can find another way to make my name work, at least until I can somehow, maybe, God willing, take over the original Dumpster Man with no suffix at the end. Dave on the Discord asked, how do you manage your time? Does making YouTube videos take up a lot of your schedule? So for those that don't know, I have a full-time job as an architect, and architecture is a really demanding career that takes up a ton of my time and energy during the day. I work from home right now, which softens the blow a little bit, but the hours are still pretty long, and yeah, it takes a lot out of me. And then on top of that, I put in probably 20 to 40 hours on average every week for streaming, YouTube, and all that good stuff. So yeah, it's a lot. And the short answer to this question is that I don't manage my time well at all. I am in completely over my head. The long answer is that even despite that, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't faze me that much. I just like doing it, so it doesn't really feel like work to me. I enjoy streaming and editing videos and managing my various YouTube channels. And I feel like I've learned a lot of valuable skills doing it, so I don't really have any problem spending my time doing that. And because my income doesn't rely on me streaming ungodly hours or pumping out a YouTube video every day or anything like that, if I start to feel burned out on it, I just take a break, I guess. I like doing all of the stuff myself. I like having creative control over my content, even if it means spending a little more time and effort making it what I want it to be. But I would consider, I guess, hiring an editor someday if it made sense financially. I wouldn't ever ask anyone to do that for free. I'd want to be able to pay them if I could. But yeah, in the short term, there's no plans for that. I'm just trying to manage my time as best as I can. My biggest goals that I wanted to improve on here for this year were just to stream more consistently. Not necessarily more, but just like to have scheduled time where I'm streaming and that I'm not just streaming so sporadically so that I can plan, you know, just the rest of my life around it. But then also I just decided not to force myself to stream or work on a video or make a video if I don't want to. And it hasn't really led to any sort of slowdown in the content that's coming out here. But I just feel better about the way that I'm balancing it, and the content that's coming out as a result, I feel like is honestly better. So I'm happy about how that's gone so far. Omission from the Discord asked, favorite music genre? Music is a huge part of who I am as a person, so I'm glad someone asked this question so I can just go off on a tangent about music for a little while. I play guitar, if you haven't noticed, they're actually right behind me right now, behind the green screen. My guitars that sit in the background of my stream setup. I was in a band when I was in college, and just in general, I love music, and it's just a big part of my interests and what I like to do. I kind of lament that I don't really get to do that much with that on Twitch or on YouTube because of copyright stuff, but I try to inject it where I can, if you can't tell by the shirts that I wear and the hats that I wear and the various posters in my room. To answer the question, for the most part, I like punk, alternative, indie rock. I like hip hop as well, especially old school hip hop and more like modern underground type stuff. Although a pretty big variety there, I'm pretty open to it. I dabble in a little bit of metal as well, not a ton, but a little bit. I'll probably just like throw up some bands and albums on the screen behind me while I talk about this, if you're curious more specifically. I have a pretty big record collection as well. I kind of almost want to go through that on stream one day, but I just feel like nobody would watch that. But if you would watch that, let me know, because I feel like that would be a fun kind of like IRL stream for me to do. I also try to be pretty deliberate about like the music that I use in my videos and stuff. I just think it's really important for like establishing the vibe of the video that I want to go for and stuff like that. And it's also led to me discovering some pretty cool like indie game soundtracks and stuff like that I like to show off whenever I can. Gojiracell asked, what is your favorite joke? Favorite joke? I honestly have a pretty weird, dry sense of humor. Anyone who watches my stream will know that. I just like making like bad puns and shit like that. So as far as just like a normal, plain old joke goes, I can't really think of one. But I guess I do have like a really dumb anti-joke that sort of comes to mind when I think about this question. Why did the blind man fall in the well? Because he couldn't see that well. Zeno from the Discord asked, how many? Like 6 or 7? Glitch Artist from the Discord asked, what if? I don't know. Isaiah asked, do you like mayonnaise? This isn't really a yes or no question for me. I like a little bit of mayonnaise like on the bottom slice of bread or on the bottom bun of a sandwich or a burger or something. And I can dig like a mayonnaise sauce, like a chipotle mayo or an aioli or something like that. But any sandwich that's just like drenched in mayo is going to be a no from me. And while I'm at it, fuck sour cream. I hate sour cream. Bite Cauldron in the Discord asked, given the current geopolitical climate, when can we expect your 40-minute video essay on the hit classic Wide Putin 64? Excellent question. You see, Wide Putin 64... I had a few more questions in mind that weren't specifically asked for this video, but they're questions that I've either like seen in my Twitch chat before or gotten in my YouTube comments before, or just that people I know in real life have asked me before, that I feel are worth touching on, at least in this video. Do you only intend to play or make content on retro FPS games? I get this question a lot from people who are new to the channel mainly or haven't ever seen my stream. The answer is no, not really. Retro FPS has been a mainstay on this channel for the last 6 months or so. I think it's an awesome genre that's producing really great games, and there is a fan base out there that's hungry for more content on that specific genre. But it's not really a specific choice or anything. It's just what I'm enjoying playing at the moment and enjoying making content on and feel like I can contribute something of value to. But I don't see what purpose just limiting myself to being just a retro FPS channel would really be. I'd like to and intend to branch out and make content on all sorts of different genres, and I just want to do so smartly in a way that that doesn't waste your time if you came here for the retro FPS stuff, or even more specifically Ultra Kill. And if you like the style of the videos that I make, then don't worry, nothing is really going to change. My goal is just to expand the different types of games that I'm covering and just keep making the same content that you guys have subscribed for, even if retro FPS just remains the focus. On my stream and on my second channel, which is mainly just VOD highlights from my streams that get uploaded daily. Check it out if you haven't. I play all sorts of crap. I'd say that my Twitch and by proxy my second channel is much more of just like a pure variety gaming channel. And that what I do on the main channel is really just only the tip of the iceberg of everything that I do. Additionally, I'm always tossing around content ideas on the games that I'm enjoying playing at the moment. I'd love to know what people here would like to see me do and play. I have some ideas for non-retro FPS games coming up, as well as a whole bunch of the usual retro FPS type content. My relative success over the past year on YouTube, at least as I perceive it, had a lot to do with my willingness to be flexible and to change what I was doing and to keep things fresh so that I was still enjoying doing it and that I was always meeting a new audience. And just in general, being willing to go with the flow. So I'm going to keep that mindset into the second year of this, and hopefully it will produce the same results. Who are you inspired by most on YouTube and for streaming? My answers are sort of all over the board for YouTube, but I can rattle off a few. There's some obvious comparisons that can be made for my content, and anyone that you think my content is like, I probably am inspired by them in some way. Outside of people making specifically Ultra Kill content, Funk is probably the single creator that I've been likened to the most, or that the most people in my community say they also watch. I actually think our content is really a lot different in presentation, but we have similar interests and we play a lot of the same games, so I can sort of see where the connection developed. And I do really like Funk. I enjoy his videos, and in a lot of ways I'm trying to emulate at least some of what he does. I've seen people talk about Civi and Mandalore in my comments. Those are both YouTubers that I really like and am inspired by in some ways. For some less obvious ones, Iron Pineapple is one that comes to mind. I just like his commentary style, and especially his like I played X Souls games that you've never heard of series, which is something that I'm trying to emulate with my kind of like movement shooter series that I'm working on. You know, the way that he's kind of become a voice for that community is really impressive to me. Like how he can say, yeah, I like Elden Ring, and the entire gaming world is just listening to what this one man has to say. It's just impressive and really deserved success. And I know that you don't get to that position just overnight, but it's something that I'd really like to strive for with what I'm doing as well. I also really respect the way that he's injected variety into what he does. He's still the Souls guy, but he actually does a ton of different stuff that falls within that umbrella, and even some of it outside that umbrella. He also likes Ultra Kill apparently, for what it's worth, so a true gamer Chad. Summoning Salt's another one. Man, if you aren't watching Summoning Salt, what are you doing? That is some of the best content on all of YouTube. And while there's almost no overlap content-wise in what he does and what I do, I would say that the inspiration comes more on like the editing and presentation side of things, and especially his music choice, which I think is awesome. I think you can see a lot of Summoning Salt influence in especially the Minos P rank video, if nowhere else on this channel. In the streaming world, but also on YouTube to some extent, my favorite streamer is Atrioc on a number of fronts. I like the variety of content he does, and I like the hype that he brings to everything he does. I also really admire how he has his own career outside of streaming that he's able to be successful in as well as streaming. His Hitman speedruns really inspired me to just like grind a game the way that he did, and I think that led to honestly a lot of what I did with Ultra Kill. And I'm also wearing the funny hat, so shout out Big A. For a lot of similar reasons that I don't really need to go over again, I also really admire what Ludwig and Small Ant are doing. Both guys have really successful and entertaining streams that translates really well to really good YouTube content. And I definitely try to emulate that sort of flow of stream to YouTube and back to stream and vice versa myself. Again, even if my content is pretty different. What do you think are your best and worst videos? Maybe not the worst, but my least favorite video is a really easy one. Like I said, I don't think it's my worst video ever. In fact, I think it's a perfectly fine video overall. And my reason for not liking it is kind of outside of the quality of the video. But the Guns the Duel video. If you haven't seen the video, I watched this original video by Kadai Gaming. Shout out, it's a very cool video about Guns the Duel. I watched it on stream and just reacted to it, and I thought the game was cool, and I enjoyed the video, and I thought I had some funny banter while I was watching it on stream. So I thought I would just edit together some of my reactions to this video and this game. The creator of the original video actually saw it and commented on it, which was very cool, and he was very nice to me. But one way or another, this led to the video kind of taking off in the algorithm in a way that I didn't really expect at that time, and especially not for that goofy little video. And most people who were fans of the game that saw that video were pretty cool about it, but I had a number of pretty toxic fans come into my comments. One person even unironically called me racist for calling fans of that game weebs, as a joke, mind you, not serious. And this was my most viewed video for a really long time, and I just didn't feel like it reflected the kind of content that I wanted to make or that I was proud of on the channel. It really just kind of felt like a blemish on my channel for a while. And even with all the views, it didn't really lead to any growth in subscribers. I still had very few subscribers around this time. So the success of the video didn't even really mean all that much. And I don't really want my channel to be a place that starts drama or toxicity or anything. So even though I thought the game was cool and I liked the original video, if I were to go back and do it all again, I probably would just not make that video at all. For favorites, I'll actually give a few answers because it's hard for me to pick just one, and my channel has changed a lot, so I feel like it's worth talking about a few videos here. For the old school Siege content, I feel like my best of year 5 video was the best that it ever got. It was really the culmination of all the time I put into that game, and just a proper celebration of the fun that me and my friends had had with that game over the years. It's kind of funny now because I realize no one would ever want to watch this, but I really wanted to set out to make like a movie length video for that, and as a result it's an hour and 40 minutes long, and it took me months to put this video together. I really spent a lot of time on this, and I think it's really good from front to back, but yeah, it's just not the type of thing that most people would probably click on. But I am very proud of that video, and ultimately I think the time that I put into it was worth it, even if I'm not still doing that type of content. I think a watershed moment on the channel, at least in my mind, was the We Broke Risk of Rain 2 with too many people video. The video itself isn't really anything special, but for me at least, it was the first time that I was like, okay, I can make variety content and it can be good and I can enjoy doing it and even have people watch it. For the time, that video actually did very well compared to my other videos. This was kind of the video that my future content was modeled after. It was, I really tried to emulate the editing style and the pacing of that video in future videos. I think if I hadn't had so much fun making that video and it hadn't done as relatively well as it had at the time, I might have gone a very different direction with this channel, honestly. There's a new DLC dropping for Risk of Rain 2, I think literally tomorrow as of me recording this video, so maybe we bring that game back on the channel. A video that I think is maybe my most underrated is the GeoGuessr, but if I get the wrong answer, the stream gets longer video. Both the stream and the video that resulted from that were some of my most ambitious projects of content creation ever at that point. And I think this was another big step in the evolution of my editing style. I really wanted to tell a story from front to back and condense down a stream that was really like a landmark stream for me and my channel at the time. And I think the video turned out really good and is worth a watch, if a little long. I might make it a little bit shorter if I made it today. The idea is just hilarious too. I mean, if you like the videos where I torture myself and slowly lose my mind, I mean, this might be the best one. And finally, I think it's pretty obvious, but it would be hard to say that anything but the P rank Minos Prime video is my best so far, at least. The Minos P rank itself really felt like the culmination of everything I've done on this channel so far. And so I really wanted to wrap the best video I've ever made around it. And I think I accomplished that, honestly. I'm not just tooting my own horn. I really spent a lot of time on that video, and I think it was worth it. So yeah, it's hard to call anything but that my quote unquote best video. What are my goals on YouTube and for streaming? I never really set out with the intention of making a career out of doing content creation and streaming, but I'd be lying if I said that as my channel grows, the thought hasn't crept into my mind at least a little bit. Obviously, I'm still a very long way off from being able to do this as a job. I don't even make any money on YouTube yet, and the money that I make on Twitch is like beer money at best. But my growth on both platforms has been hyperbolic, so it's hard to say what things will look like in a year or two. I hit 1,000 subscribers, honestly, way faster than I ever thought I would once I really started started taking this channel seriously. I'm just coming off my strongest month ever for growth on YouTube, and honestly, it kind of feels like the sky's the limit at the moment. I'm sort of resistant to setting any hard and fast goals because I feel like if I do, I might just end up disappointing myself. Although if I had set goals for 2021, I would have pretty much completely shattered all of them. But what's really a lot more important to me is just that people are enjoying the content and that I'm having fun doing what I'm doing. I've experienced now firsthand how you can kind of blow up off of one game or one type of content. And while I really love Ultra Kill, and I'm definitely going to make more Ultra Kill content, and the Ultra Kill community has been super cool to me, I also just don't want to completely burn out on one game, because not only would that lead to me probably not enjoying a game that I love, but it would also probably lead to really uninspired, joyless content creation. My goal is and has always been to make a variety of content that people enjoy and are interested in for me as a person, and not just for whatever it is that I'm playing. But I also am realistic, and I realize that that doesn't just happen overnight. I want to feel like I've earned your viewership rather than manipulated you into clicking or watching my videos. So yeah, my goal is just to make a variety of content on a variety of games and stuff, and just hope that people will enjoy it. I think I'm off to a good start, and I'm glad that the Ultra Kill content has clicked with people so far. And if you like it, I hope you stick around, and I hope you keep an open mind to some of the stuff that I have coming up. That is pretty much all I got. Thanks for watching. It's kind of funny, I remember celebrating 100 subscribers. I was actually out of town. I was on vacation with my girlfriend, now fiance. And I never expected to hit 100 as fast as I did. I literally went from like 20 to 100 subs in like a month. And it kind of feels like I blinked in a similarly short period of time. I hit 1,000, so who knows? I mean, I might be celebrating 10K or whatever before I even know it. But if you're here now, thank you. I really appreciate it. I just hope you like what's coming, and you stick around, and I hope to keep delivering content that you enjoy. Peace out until next time. So I actually just got done recording the Q&A video, and I remembered that Apollo on the Discord asked if I could do a setup tour. So I'm going to do a very quick, very scuffed setup tour. Actually, before I put this away, I wanted to show it. This is actually the green screen that I was just filming in front of in my stream room. Yes, this is the same room that I normally stream in. But I'm gonna put this away quick, and then I will give you the proper tour. I just wanted to show you this scuffed setup. This is just like a cheap green screen setup from Amazon, and it's being pinned to the floor by the same dumbbells that I use to prop my door open, which you might have seen on my stream or in the background of my videos before. So anyways, yeah, I'm gonna pack this back up. So yeah, there you go. That's a view you're probably a little more used to. The usual background of my stream. I suppose I could show the guitars. We have Schecter C1 Custom, my electric guitar. Taylor acoustic guitar. That's my baby right there. Menzinger's flag in the middle, one of my favorite bands. Got to show them front and center. Black Star amp. Yeah, regrettably don't have enough time really to play guitar these days, at least not as much as I'd like to. But actually, as I was filming that video, it might be a little too bright to see, but I literally just hit 1,000 subscribers. So that's pretty awesome. So thank you for that. And I guess here's the setup. Logitech mouse, Logitech keyboard, a little dirty. Stream Deck for controlling stuff when I stream. Lights, let's see, the lights are, they're like the funny Philips Hue bulbs. And this is what it looks like normally when I stream. Right now I have them a little lighter so that the room is lit up a little bit better, but normally when I stream they look like this. There you go. It looks very blue and purple right now, which are my colors kind of, but when I actually stream it doesn't quite look that blue and purple. I also use these lights down here, which I kind of bounce off the wall, that light my face a little bit better while I'm streaming. Webcam is a Logitech C920. Oh yeah, some people commented on this in the Minos Prime video, but refused flag behind the monitors. I get the monitors like held up by dual arms here. It's kind of nice. Capture card for recording some console stuff. I really haven't done that much, but I could use it more for like for like Switch games and stuff like that. But yeah, that's kind of all the interesting stuff. Here's a look at the room. Record player over there. Ultra Kill poster right behind where I sit. Oh yeah, and the chair. The chair is a autonomous ergo chair. Highly recommend it. I mean, it's basically just like an office chair. It's not like a gamer chair, but I think it's a lot more comfortable than any of those chairs. Oh yeah, the second mic. This is literally just a Blue Yeti. You don't really get a lot of use out of it because it kind of sounds like crap. I used to mic up both myself and Britta, and mine is a Audio-Technica AT2020, which is actually quite nice and sounds good. So I try not to use the Yeti, at least as little as possible. Headphones, Sennheiser something or other. I like them a lot though. I've used Sennheiser headphones for a long time, even before I made videos and streamed. So yeah, that's about it. This is the old setup. Hope you enjoyed.
Hit that like
This is
button.
alright.
Smash that bell, hit that bell button, hit
Destroy my
bell
pussy.
button.
Subscribe to Dumper Man.